Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. The two pictures on your screen are of a gentleman you've probably heard of if you've been in the world of crypto for a little bit. It's Michael Saylor, the founder and CEO of MicroStrategy, Mr. Bitcoin maximalist himself. He's a self-proclaimed Bitcoin maximalist. It's Bitcoin or bust for him, which makes sense. He's got heavy Bitcoin bags, including with his company, which has purchased Bitcoin, crazy amounts of Bitcoin. And so it's, in a sense, not surprising that he feels so strongly the way he does against all other cryptocurrencies, which certainly would include XRP. In fact, he says that all the other cryptos out there are securities. Now, we know that this is complete bogus nonsense, and he says that all of them are not decentralized also. He literally says it's crazy stuff, and he's just like, he is the god of the Bitcoiners, effectively. People bow down to this guy, effectively. Figuratively, hopefully figuratively, not literally. But it's the case that he says everything's a security. Well, he was interviewed in this video right here, titled "Michael Saylor, Bitcoin's Killer App, Ethereum, Web3, and Inflation." This is from July 12th of this year. And attorney John Deaton watched this, and then I could tell it lit a little bit of a fire, and understandably so. And he challenged Michael Saylor, or you could say invite, I guess that sounds nicer. He invited Michael Saylor on his channel, his YouTube channel, Crypto Law, to discuss the things that he said. And so I listened to this. I mean, the relevant portion of this, it starts at 45 minutes in and it goes for about 25 minutes. This guy, my gosh, and this, mind you, this is not a personal attack on Michael Saylor. The ideas that he espouses are largely not in line with reality. And so attorney John Deaton really took him to task on Twitter. And I want to share with you what attorney John Deaton had to say, and I'll share with you my thoughts along the way. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so the thread from attorney John Deaton reads as follows. Michael Saylor has an open invitation to appear on Crypto Law TV and respectfully discuss, justify, or clarify the extremely critical statements he made during this podcast. First, he implied almost everything other than Bitcoin is a security. Second, he literally said, quote, all the legitimate talent is working in the Bitcoin ecosystem, end quote. And he also said, quote, if you're honest, ethical, and competent, you would be building on the Lightning Network. That's end quote. And he did literally say that. In fact, here's another quote that I jotted down because it just kind of made me chuckle a bit. He wrote, we're waiting for Lightning to harden, end quote. So he's recognizing Lightning Network doesn't even freaking work. Now, there is technology out there that does work, that allows for instantaneous payments and settlement. That already exists. Ever heard of XRP and the XRP ledger? I think you have. And he noted that the first real year, as he sees it, for Lightning Network is actually 2021, even though it had been in development for whatever it was, 4 or 5 years prior. I don't remember exactly when it started, but still, he's acknowledging it's not ready yet. That's the way he worded it. And so I said, that's characterized as not being ready yet. Anyway, attorney Deaton continues. Saylor basically asserts that if you are aware of the law, then you would only build on Bitcoin because the rest of the S-word coins are securities. Saylor's analysis of what constitutes a security is deeply flawed, which is quite surprising considering how intelligent he is. Well, that's why I got to pause here. And I don't know. Maybe he means what he's saying, but I agree. Like, he's a really sharp guy. He's incredibly intelligent. Like, he's genius level. He really is. So how could he not know this? Is he being disingenuous then? I mean, it's bad either way, but I just got to sit here wondering, like, does he really not understand the securities law that he's because he talked about Howie. He knows about Howie at least. Is it just the case that his Bitcoin bags are so heavy that he can't say a single thing negative about Bitcoin? He can't say a single thing positive about anything else in the world of crypto, that any other coin at least, that's not Bitcoin? That's what it looks like. You tell me, folks. Anyway, attorney Deaton continues. More troubling are his comments that if you're ethical, you would build only on Bitcoin and Lightning Network. The ethical comments are absurd, and Saylor needs to be better than that. The problem with his analysis is that he equates every potential developer with the platform's founders. If he wants to criticize altcoin founders in comparison to Bitcoin, it is understandable and I take no issue, whether I agree or disagree with him. But we're talking about an open, permissionless, distributed ledger technology. Not every developer was distributed pre-mined tokens. Yeah, and so this is where I got to point out. I may have said it a couple minutes ago, but Michael Saylor, his perspective is that even if you're building on something, a platform that you didn't create, it's still a centralized platform, which is astonishing. Because if you look at the XRP ledger, for example, you can do whatever you want without the permission of the creators. That's for damn sure. You want to start building? Go ahead. Nothing can be done to stop you, right? There is no central authority with the XRP ledger, just for example, but he says everything's centralized unless it's Bitcoin. That is his official position. He said it in that clip. I synced it with my own ears. He said that. Anyway, Attorney Deaton continues, and it gets really good here because he has this hypothetical, John Deaton does, but it's actually a real-life situation, and that's why I loved it so much. So anyway, Attorney Deaton continues. What about a developer who comes along and builds an application on one of these platforms and the developer has never met or even spoken to the founders, its foundation, or anyone associated with the creation of the token or the technology? Are you really calling them unethical? Imagine the following. A developer reads the Bitcoin white paper. This developer, like many before him, including Michael Saylor, becomes moved or changed by Bitcoin and everything Bitcoin stands for. This developer falls completely in love with Satoshi Nakamoto's vision. What if that developer decided to build a Bitcoin payments app, but before building it, he looked into and evaluated the Lightning Network and decided it was not good enough for what he had in mind? What if he then evaluated a technology designed precisely for payments? So pause right here. Again, as I told you, this is a real life scenario, but what's freaking crazy about this is Michael Saylor, while acknowledging that Lightning Network isn't ready, says that if you build and you're trying to solve the problems that maybe one day Lightning Network can help solve, if you build it somewhere else, you're unethical. You'll see as we go forward. So check this out. Attorney Deaton continues. After evaluating Lightning, what if that developer looked closely at the XRP ledger and decided that it was a much better solution than Lightning Network to spend or transfer your Bitcoin? What if this developer utilized the XRP ledger as a layer 2 solution to solve the Bitcoin problem? Now, please assume that this developer has never met David Schwartz, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, or anyone from Ripple. Because the XRP ledger is an open, permissionless, distributed ledger technology, the folks at Ripple don't even know this developer and his payments app exists. Now imagine this developer, completely independent of Ripple and its founders, builds the payment app and calls it Spend the Bits. Get it? Spend the Bitcoin? That developer is, let me get the name right, Jaskra and Cambo. I'm sorry if I butchered that. That developer is Jaskra and Cambo, and the above facts are 100% true and accurate. His Bitcoin payments app is Spend the Bits. So think about this, folks. This guy just wanted to build, considered using the Lightning Network, saw Lightning Network doesn't freaking work for his needs, moved along, found something that does work, the XRP ledger, because you can tokenize anything on the XRP ledger, and it's blazing fast, carbon neutral, and it's practically free transaction. It's just amazing. Instantaneous settlement, right? And so then Attorney Deaton continues, he says, I understand Saylor is a Bitcoin maxi, and that's okay. It's fair to distinguish Bitcoin's creation versus the creation of altcoins. It's fair to bring up the issue of venture capital money when discussing altcoins. It's fair to criticize and describe ICOs like ETH as securities at issuance. It's fair to argue that most altcoins, even without issuing an ICO, started out as a security. It's fair to criticize token concentration or ownership in the hands of only a few whales. Of course, this criticism also applies to Bitcoin and Michael Saylor, if you're fair and objective. And that's true. I'll just pause and note, Michael Saylor has like an ungodly amount of Bitcoin. I apologize if I'm mistaken, but I think it's over 120,000 Bitcoin that MicroStrategy holds. That's a whale. That's an absolute whale. And so as far as Michael Saylor, again, like I said a couple times in this video already, he says everything else is centralized. Everything else is centralized. He won't even entertain the idea that something could start as centralized and then become decentralized, which is crazy because when Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin, there was a point where he was the only miner. Now that's a centralized system if I ever seen one. You know what I'm saying? But does he even acknowledge that? I've never seen him address that point, but it's true. And then John wraps up by stating, as for the absurdity of XRP being a security, I've already used Spend the Bits as an example for the judge to consider, and it helped acquire a Michi Curie status. I hope Michael Saylor takes me up on my offer to discuss these issues. Disclosure, I am a MicroStrategy shareholder, and that's from attorney John Deaton. So I don't know, like, again, this is not an attack on Michael Saylor at all. I think he's a brilliant dude. And I agree with a lot of the conceptual problems that he presents in terms of the monetary system. I'd agree with him in totality on a lot of the stuff. But just when you get into the maximalism land, you lose me. You totally lose me. Different things do different stuff. And so different cryptocurrencies will be used and adopted for different purposes. And when they become standards, they're hard to supplant. That's how it works with standards in the real world. All right. And Michael Saylor, he says some wacky stuff to justify some stuff. Like, if you guys heard the whole money is energy thing, well, tweets on your screen. This is from November 21st of 2020. And this is I think, pretty wimpy way to try and head off attacks of, the claims of Bitcoin being an energy hog, which it is. And so he tweeted out the following. Money is energy. Bitcoin is the first crypto monetary energy network, capable of collecting all the world's liquid energy, storing it over time without power loss, and channeling it across space with negligible impedance. I tell you, it just looks to me like he's like wrapping himself up into a pretzel trying to justify the energy hogness of what is the Bitcoin blockchain. It looks completely ridiculous. And so there's this, I'm not going to read this, but this is from August 13, 2020. It's Ripple's official blog series, Ripple Insights. This was titled, Ensuring That Our Digital Future is a Sustainable, and just want to give you a real short quote if I can find it really quickly. Yeah, check this out. On average, a single Bitcoin transaction consumes 700 kilowatt hours of electricity. That's a massive carbon footprint when you consider that a single transaction utilizing fiat currency like paper money consumes a mere 0.044 kilowatt hour. So he says money's energy, and I'm like, well, okay, even if you buy that Bitcoin as money, and I don't think today it's used as money, I mean, those would be the fringe occasions because it's not best suited for payments, but even if we accept that Bitcoin's money, this whole money is energy narrative, which just is, it's wacky stuff here. That just came alive because Bitcoin exists, because as cited by Ripple, there's no comparison even with paper money. Like, come on, bro. you gotta do a little bit better than that. I'm just saying. So there it is. This is why don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't be a maximalist, not even for XRP. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. But I guess, again, when your bags are that heavy, I guess that's why. I can't think of why else. It just doesn't make sense. But I'll wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.